Heavy menstrual bleeding, also known as heavy period, is not just a temporary discomfort. It can be dangerous and lead to serious health issues if not addressed. Before defining what a heavy period is, let's first understand what is considered normal for menstruation. Menstrual patterns vary from woman to woman, often influenced by genetic predisposition. Cycle length and characteristics are frequently inherited from the maternal side, meaning that a girl may have similar period tendencies to those of her mother. When we talk about a normal period, we are referring to a well-established cycle that has been regular for several years. Early periods during puberty can vary in length and flow until a hormonal balance is achieved. The period cycle is measured from the first day of the bleeding until the next first day. A normal cycle ranges from 21 to 35 days with an average of 28. However, if your cycle is consistently, let's say, 33 days, that is normal for you. Small fluctuations of 1-2 days between cycles are also common and can be influenced by various factors such as diet, sleep, stress levels, hormonal changes, travel, altitude, etc. A little poetic side note, cycle synchronization is a phenomenon where women who live together or share close spaces such as bathrooms may start their periods around the same time. The idea of a menstrual cycle synchronization, often called McClintock effect, was first proposed by researcher Martha McClintock in a 1971 study. Her research suggested that women who live together or spend significant amounts of time in close proximity could experience synchronized menstrual cycles due to pheromones, chemical signals that influence behavior and physiology. Back to what is normal. A typical period lasts anywhere from 2 to 7 days. The first day usually starts off light, with the second and third days being the heaviest. By day 4, the flow tends to lighten up, and it is also common to experience a small pause just when you think your period is over. It might surprise you by returning briefly the next day. During a typical menstrual cycle, 30 to 80 milliliters of blood is lost, that is roughly 2 to 6 tablespoons, or the equivalent of 3 to 6 regular tampons or sanitary pads, not including Night, Super, Max or XL sizes pads. And if you use a menstrual cup or disc instead, measuring in milliliters or ounces makes it easier to track. It is also normal to pass a few small clots about the size of a fingertip in diameter. Color. On the first day, it's normal for menstrual blood to be bright in color, ranging from pink or orange to bright red. On day 2, 3 and 4, it typically turns dark red unless you have a condition like anemia or a hormonal imbalance. After the 4th or 5th day, the blood usually transitions to brown or dark brown and can appear almost black during the last day or two. The consistency of blood may also vary from watery to jelly-like. However, if you notice large clots larger than 2 fingers in diameter, this could indicate heavy bleeding that wasn't expelled right away. A normal menstrual cycle should not be excessively painful. Mild cramping, bloating, mood swings, breast tenderness or heaviness, headaches, and lower back or abdominal pain are all common symptoms. What is not normal? A cycle shorter than 21 days or longer than 35 days between the first day of each period, extremely heavy bleeding where you need to change a tampon or a pad every 1 to 2 hours, large blood clots, especially those larger than 2 fingers in diameter, spotting between periods, a cycle that stops for more than 3 months without a pregnancy. If you notice any of these signs, it is important for you to consult with an obstetrician gynecologist. They can help you explore options for treatment and address any underlying conditions or concerns. Today we are discussing why heavy menstrual bleeding should not be accepted as normal, even if you think, I've always been like this, so have my mom and grandmother. We'll also explore the potential consequences of not addressing the issue and why it is important to take action. Heavy periods, medically referred to as menorrhagia, can be caused by a variety of factors ranging from hormonal imbalances to underlying health conditions. Here are some of the common causes. Hormonal: estrogen and progesterone imbalances. These hormones regulate the menstrual cycle. If they are out of balance, the lining of the uterus, endometrium, may become too thick, leading to heavier periods when it sheds. Thyroid disorders, both hypothyroidism, where the thyroid is underactive, and hyperthyroidism, with respectively an overactive thyroid, can affect menstrual patterns and lead to heavy bleeding. Uterine fibroids, these are non-cancerous growths in the uterus that can cause heavy or prolonged periods, particularly if they are located in the uterine lining. Adenomyosis, a condition where the endometrium tissue grows into the muscular wall of the uterus, which can cause heavy and painful periods. Polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, which can disrupt normal ovulation, leading to a prolonged or heavy periods due to an imbalance of reproductive hormones. Endometriosis, a condition where the tissue that normally lines the inside of the uterus grows outside of it, causing heavy bleeding, severe pain, and irregular periods. Pelvic inflammatory disease, PID, that is a bacterial infection in the reproductive organs that can lead to inflammation and heavy menstrual bleeding if untreated. Copper IUDs, in particular, can cause heavier or longer periods as a side effect in some women. Blood disorders, conditions like von Willebrand disease or thrombocytopenia, can affect the blood's ability to clot properly, leading to excessive menstrual bleeding. Certain medications such as anticoagulants, blood thinners, or hormonal treatments can increase menstrual bleeding as well. Unfortunately, in rare cases, cancers of the uterus, cervix, or ovaries can cause unusually heavy or irregular periods. Heavy bleeding can sometimes be a sign of an early miscarriage or an ectopic pregnancy, a pregnancy outside of the uterus, which is a very dangerous condition. If you experience heavy periods regularly, it is important to consult with a healthcare professional to identify the underlying cause and receive an appropriate treatment. One of the most common consequences of heavy menstruation is anemia. The large blood loss cannot be fully replenished before the next cycle, especially if your periods are shorter. It is a serious condition with symptoms like shortness of breath, easily being fatigued and exhausted, having brain fog, heart palpitations, hair loss, brittle or peeling nails, and other symptoms which can significantly impact your quality of life and, if left untreated, can eventually harm vital organs such as the brain and heart due to the lack of oxygen supply. A tricky and unfortunate aspect of anemia is that heavy periods can cause anemia, and anemia can in turn increase menstrual blood loss. There are different types of anemia, but chronic blood loss typically leads to an iron deficiency anemia. A key point to note when evaluating iron deficiency, serum iron levels alone don't provide enough information. What matters most is ferritin levels, which should ideally fall in the middle of the reference range. Some sources even recommend aiming for a ferritin level above 100. Iron, like iodine, is essential for the thyroid gland as it plays a key role in the synthesis of thyroid hormones. A deficiency in iron can contribute to low thyroid function, also known as hypothyroidism. These are the way iron and iron deficiency impact the thyroid gland. Decrease in the activity of the enzyme thyroperoxidase, TPO. The enzyme thyroperoxidase, which is involved in the synthesis of thyroid hormones T3 and T4, requires iron to function properly. Iron is involved in the metabolism of T4 and T3. When iron levels are low, the process of converting T4 into its active form T3 can be impaired. T3 is more bioactive and it is the main hormone that regulates metabolic processes in the body. As we said, and now emphasize, anemia affects all organs. Less oxygen reaches the tissues, including thyroid gland. Reduced oxygen flow can make the gland less efficient and cause it to produce fewer hormones. Iron deficiency leads to reduced mitochondrial activity and therefore lower energy production in cells, including thyroid gland. Iron deficiency can affect the sensitivity of thyroid-stimulating hormone, THS receptors, leading to improper regulation of this hormone and potential imbalances of the production of T3 and T4 hormones. And to repeat once again, as a result of all these processes, iron deficiency can contribute to development of hypothyroidism, reduced function of the thyroid gland, or complicate already existing problems with it. If you have anemia or iron deficiency, it is important to assess your condition and consider iron supplementation. However, this should be done carefully as taking iron, especially in high doses, carries risk. Iron is involved in chemical reactions that produce hydroxyl radicals, which are extremely reactive and can damage lipids, proteins and DNA in the cells, which leads to oxidative stress. Intake of large amounts of iron can lead to accumulation of free iron, that is iron not bound to proteins such as ferritin or transferrin in cells. Free iron readily participates in the aforementioned reactions, increasing the risk of reactive oxygen species formation. Oxidative stress disrupts the function of cell membranes, changes their permeability and leads to cell dysfunction or even cell death. Excessive iron intake and the associated oxidative stress can increase the risk of a variety of diseases, including cardiovascular disease, diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and certain cancers. Okay, iron can be dangerous. Does that mean that you should not take iron? No, it means that iron should be only supplemented with after proper testing. Initial blood tests are needed to determine your iron levels and any deficiencies. Follow-up tests, usually every 3 months, help monitor hemoglobin and ferritin levels. If you have a condition that affects absorption or causes regular blood loss, maintenance doses are usually required. Never take iron supplements, even prescribed by a doctor, without first confirming through testing that they are indeed necessary. And now back to today's topic, how to correct heavy periods to prevent blood loss, which can lead to anemia, oxidative stress and other issues like diabetes, hypothyroidism, low energy, hair loss and weight gain. As mentioned earlier, one possible cause of heavy periods is estrogen dominance, which can be inherited or can develop over time. Factors contributing to estrogen dominance include birth control pills, liver problems, impaired detoxification, weight gain since fat cells produce estrogen. To keep things concise, we'll explain estrogen dominance in simple terms without diving into the different types of estrogen, some of which are protective while others can be harmful, and of course the harmful can accumulate. How does estrogen dominance cause heavy periods? Estrogen is responsible for thickening of the endometrium, the inner lining of the uterus. During the first phase of the menstrual cycle, known as the follicular phase, the endometrium thickens in preparation for a potential pregnancy. If an egg is fertilized, the thickening lining is necessary for proper implantation. Without sufficient endometrial thickness, implantation may fail, leading to difficulties in becoming pregnant or even early miscarriages that might go unnoticed. After ovulation, if the egg is not fertilized, it becomes a corpus luteum, a yellow body which produces progesterone and small amounts of estradiol, that's a form of estrogen. This marks the start of the luteal phase, where progesterone becomes the dominant hormone and it balances out estrogen. However, when estrogen levels are too high, the uterine lining becomes excessively thick, leading to heavier periods with more blood loss. In short, normal estrogen levels, normal thickness of the uterine lining, normal menstruation. Excessive estrogen, excessive thickness, heavy menstrual bleeding. How to balance your hormones? First, you need to test your hormone levels, which must be done on specific days of your cycle. Your doctor will guide you on which hormones to test and how to interpret the result. Hormonal imbalances can be treated with various options such as hormonal IUDs, oral medications, vaginal creams, skin patches or topical creams. Some natural ways to support your hormone balance. One way to help eliminate excess estrogen is by consuming enough fiber, around 30 grams per day, including both soluble and insoluble types. For example, a carrot salad gained popularity on TikTok for hormonal balance, but you don't need to prepare it in a specific way for it to be effective. Another option is DIM supplement, a compound derived from cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower and Brussels sprouts. Some people opt for DIM supplements because while these vegetables are beneficial, they also contain goitrogens, which can interfere with the thyroid function if consumed in large amounts. So it is about finding the right balance. You might also look into Vitex, also known as chaste tree or Abraham's tree. Vitex is often used to relieve premenstrual symptoms, PMS, and naturally regulate hormones. Vitex helps balance estrogen and progesterone levels by influencing hormone secretion from hypothalamus and pituitary gland. It supports overall female reproductive health. However, like all supplements, Vitex has potential side effects, so it is crucial to go through research and consult with a healthcare provider before starting any new supplement. Calcium D-glucarate. This supplement helps detoxify excess estrogen by improving its metabolism in liver and promoting its elimination through the intestine. Magnesium supports the body in regulating progesterone levels and balancing estrogen dominance. It also aids in the metabolism of sugars and insulin, which can help regulate further hormones. Keep in mind that progesterone production requires carbohydrates. If you're a woman who still menstruates and you are following a ketogenic diet or doing long-term fasting, this could lead to hormonal imbalance. Vitamin B6 aids in production of progesterone and can reduce symptoms of estrogen dominance such as irritability and water retention. And then a deficiency in vitamin D can worsen hormonal imbalances. It plays an important role in regulating the reproductive system and hormonal function. Take it along with vitamin K2 to avoid calcification, which is the accumulation of calcium in places in which it doesn't belong. Boron is involved in hormone metabolism and can help balance estrogen levels. Milk thistle supports liver health, which is crucial for metabolizing hormones. Improving liver function can help detoxify excess estrogen. Omega-3 fatty acids reduce inflammation and can support hormonal balance by promoting healthy estrogen metabolism. And an important reminder is that you should always consult with a doctor or specialist before taking any supplements, especially if you have a pre-existing health condition or are taking medication. Additional measures to prevent blood loss during menstruation. A more serious measure, though less radical than a hysterectomy, which is the surgical removal of the uterus, but more significant than a hormonal IUD, is an endometrial ablation. This is a procedure only recommended for women who do not wish to have more children, and it can be effective for some. It carries its risk. It might work brilliantly for one woman, provide no benefit for other, or result in more side effects than benefits for a third. There is a list of strong medications that can be prescribed by a gynecologist based on the severity of blood loss. I will put some of them here. And let's go to the simple and non-invasive over-the-counter methods to reduce bleeding. One very common is taking large doses of vitamin C, from 1,000, 2,000 up to 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C 2 to 3 times a day during the first 2 to 4 days of your cycle has been shown to reduce blood loss. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, taking 500 milligrams of ibuprofen 3 times a day starting 2-3 days before your cycle can help manage heavy bleeding. However, I personally have my reserves about systematic ibuprofen use due to its potential side effects such as stomach and liver issues, though it is commonly recommended by OBGYNs. Herbal extract, it is not sponsored. I purchased a product called Flow Stopper out of curiosity, and to my surprise it worked. It contains bayberry root, shepherd's purse aerials, witch hazel bark and cinnamon bark. I initially took only 8 pumps, it tastes awful to my taste, which reduced my blood loss by at least 30%. Now I use 8 pumps multiple times a day. The description says that you can take 8 pumps in a little water for taste, repeat hourly until symptoms subsides for up to 1 day, or as practitioner recommended. And then there are various herbal combinations on the market that can help you reduce bleeding. If you have any experience with these, I would love to hear about it. Write me down your recommendations in the comments below. And that's all for today. If you found this video helpful or useful, give it a thumbs up. If no, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe for the channel for more practical and useful videos, and I will see you again in my next one. Stay happy and healthy. Bye.